world is moving, right? So when you see companies like Zillow moving at the speed of implementation based off what the world is doing, and it seems like you can't catch up, well, that can create some levels of animosity. If we view these as just social media, we miss the opportunity of what the internet is. The first thing the agent has to understand is the internet is a presence. It's not a destination. We focus too much on what Zillow is doing. We miss our ability to use the internet at the same level. It's like everything that says Zillow killer, lock it down.
Hey Masters, welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. Today we are with Mr. James Rembert, the founder of Digital Natives Inc., the Zillow brand killer. He's a talented designer and trainer, marketing strategist who began his journey as a licensed realtor in New Jersey. What's going on, man?
All is well. All is well.
Man, you have like the coolest name probably in real estate, Zillow killer.
I didn't name myself that, so it was inherited.
Hey, tell us about that. How'd that happen?
I had I just started getting into speaking, and I was already traveling and, teaching different associations and things of that nature. And I was at an association, and somebody that had some pull at Inman wanted me to come and speak. And I never spoke at that level before. And of course, my company is a marketing and advertising company, so I understand the awareness play. And my name, you didn't know me, and my company didn't know me either. But to create some type of synergy in a sense of connecting the name, we had these shirts. We had shirts made, but I had a sweater made and it had Zillow Killer and had my company name on it, which was just to create the attention and to create some awareness. And at first I wasn't going to wear the shirt. I didn't know, right? I just didn't know. But, after we played back and forth, I finally wore it and I went up to speak. And my first time ever speaking, it was like 6,000 people there. I was so nervous, but did pretty well. But I was so focused on getting the information out, I never said my name. And I left off stage. And when I left off stage, I didn't know the protocol. I didn't know you're supposed to stay in the green room and wait it out. I didn't know how things went. I just knew this is what it was. And I got my stuff from the green room and left and went outside where the vestibule area was. And while I was waiting, there's two people that came with me. While I was waiting for them to come out from the auditorium let out. And while I was waiting for them, by the time they caught it with me, I was surrounded by like a couple hundred people and everybody kept calling me Zillow Killer. So as soon as I seen that, I text my assistant and was like, everything that says Zillow Killer, lock it down. And stuck from that point on.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely memorable, and certainly I think probably more outside of real estate as well. I mean, Zillow is, I hate to say it, but the reality is if you ask 10 people anywhere, you could walk into a Starbucks and ask 10 people where they search for homes, and probably 8 of them will tell you Zillow.
I'll say 10 out of 10 will say that. Because
probably 10 out of 10, but yeah, you're probably right. Depends.
They've secured that message, right? It's not a bad thing. I can't get mad at the company for doing good business. And when people hear Zillow Killer, they assume I have a distaste for Zillow, and I don't. That's not what it is. It's more of I'm teaching attention and awareness by osmosis, right? I'm showing them how to garnish attention and play on the emotion side of the industry. But when I talk, I never talk about Zillow. I never talk bad about Zillow. I never talk about Zillow. I never bring them up. I do help people understand Zillow isn't the end all be all in a sense of advertising and marketing, right? I give that clarification, and I also help people understand Zillow does have its place. If you're spending in Zillow and you're putting in 1,000 and bringing out 5,000, I wouldn't stop spending in Zillow, right? I'm not going to tell you stop if it works. It's just if it's not working, I can give you alternatives and help you understand what the internet can do in its totality, because Zillow isn't the end all be all for the real estate industry with the internet. And we've given them that type of power. So
you run an agency. You help agents with marketing and generating leads. And why? And we can talk about that
Mhm.
in a minute. I know you do a lot through social media and stuff like that, through being in your rooms on Clubhouse. Um, why is everybody hate Zillow? Like, what's what's the deal with Zillow? I mean, I have my thought process with regards to Zillow. I agree with you to an extent. Listen, if you're spending 1,200 a month and your ROI's 3x, then crap, why not use Zillow, right? But why is everybody against Zillow?
I think it's the misconception of one. There's a few reasons. One of the biggest reasons I think is they view Zillow as a partner or part of the industry,
Mm,
and Zillow never stated themselves as that, right? And at the same time, they view Zillow as an adversary in the sense of they're taking business from the industry. And they never said that either. What they understood was what the internet was. They understood the manifesto of the internet. When you're able to resonate, you're able to position yourself to be omnipresent. But what they couldn't tap into was intimacy. So they brought the agents in to create the intimacy for that missing component. Whether they did that, intentionally, but they did understand the identity of an agent plays a big factor. That's why you go from listing to agent to connect or close the gap. And you can't get mad at anybody that's willing to maneuver or move in a relevant time frame. It's 2021, right? We're still telling people video is important. Video's been important for years,
mm,
right? It's been a necessity for years, but no one wanted to adapt to it. And then you look at the current environment where COVID-19 came in, and then they were forced to use video. And the next thing they said was, "Well, I'm innovating." No, you're not innovating. You're being relevant now, right? And and unfortunately, the real estate industry has a way of romanticizing the nostalgia and not willing to adapt or accept the way of the world, not the industry. The world is moving, right? So when you see companies like Zillow moving at the speed of implementation based off what the world is doing, and it seems like you can't catch up, well, that can create some levels of animosity and some truth. They won't admit it because they don't know what they're upset about, right?
mm,
But you put it in perspective. When Zillow came about, it was the newest thing to slice bread to the industry. It was like, ooh, 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 we need to use it, right? So we gave Zillow the information, which is the data in the sense of the MLS. We turned around and gave Zillow the client as well, which was ourselves. We bought into the lead nurturing or the lead process, and we always had that power to do it for ourselves. We just didn't take time to learn it.
mm,
So you can't get mad at a company for moving on an opportunity or I guess the lack of taking advantage of what the internet is. They understood what the internet was at a very early age, and a lot of other people do as well. My biggest concern is that if we're viewing Zillow as the enemy, if we view Zillow as the enemy, we have to view all of these software companies as the enemy. But if we view Zillow as a major adversary, it's like we're still ignoring our power and our abilities to market with these same components where the thing that Zillow can't do, and that's why they use our identity, they can't tap into intimacy. And to create intimacy, very simple strategy, do video. That's it.
mm. So I have a few things. I'm making some notes listening
Oh
to
no.
you, James. A few things. I Zillow. I was at Keller Williams for a long time. Everybody knows Gary Keller's publicly not a fan. I don't know if that's changed recently, but so we were kind of taught, that was the message, right? That was the culture. Like Zillow's bad. Zillow's putting you out of business. Like I said, Zillow's also helped a lot of people become top agents and literally own markets. I mean, they're making a lot of moves these days now, different types of moves. that will affect real estate agents? Like, what do you think is the play? Or do you even have like?
I mean, I don't know. They're just doing good business, right? I think that the focus, if we focus too much on what Zillow is doing, we miss our ability to use the internet at the same level, right? The one thing that these companies, and it doesn't matter what company you name, right? Zillow, and when you go down a list of the syndicated sites, the thing that they can't tap into is they'll never be able to uh, completely take over as a hyper local anything. They can go very broad, but being hyper local, that's our advantage. And unfortunately, it just seems like agents forget that. They forget, dude, you're not selling the nation. You're selling, you need to be hyper local in whatever market you're focused on. But the reason why it's complicated for the market to see you is because they don't know you. They have no clue who you are. So when you hear, small, and not to say small, when you hear techniques like, hey, you need to do video, it's easily dismissed because it's so accessible, right? It then became like a commodity. It's like, just video. But we fail to realize video is conversation at scale, right? The same thing we do when we meet people at a store and talk to them. That's what video allows us to do. So what Zillow does really doesn't even matter if the agent is really focused on him or her building up their own video branding or video network or channels, where all of these different platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, if we view these as just social media, we miss the opportunity of what the internet is. The first thing the agent has to understand is the internet is a presence. It's not a destination, right? And it sucks that we have to go through a first world problem, like you come home and your Wi-Fi don't work and you realize, ooh, I really need it. We're not talking industry. I'm talking the world. This is how the world communicates. So if we're willing to take time to learn the culture structure of the platforms that we want to choose, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you choose, right? We understand all of these platforms work. We view these platforms as communication. We understand these platforms give us the ability to build awareness, build attention, build engagement. It doesn't matter what Zillow does anymore, right? They're going to do what they're going to do anyway. There's no stopping the company, right? But as an agent, we don't have to combat that. We just need to focus on building up our own network, and we can do it. Not on a national, global scale, just the individual agent. He or she has the ability to be a dominant force in his or her market if the market knew who they were.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Interesting. My wife and I, we were booking a trip to Hawaii, and Zillow, and I'll tell you why I'm telling you this, because Zillow, there's a lot of talks now. Zillow is becoming a brokerage. And if Zillow does become a brokerage, then obviously they're going to have, there's probably an advantage. And we don't have to get into that conversation if you don't want to.
It's okay.
But, we've been talking about this for years, how if you could almost compare real estate industry with travel. It's different in a sense because there's a lot more emotion. However, going back to my point is my wife and I are taking a trip to Hawaii. We did not go on Expedia to book that trip. We called a travel agent. So if you use the same metaphor, there's going to be a lot. The real estate agents are always going to be around.
True.
Zillow is going to affect a lot of real estate agents. That's my opinion. I think either you're going to work for them or, I'd love to hear your opinion.
No, for those who don't want to adapt, that's going to be part of the process, right? For those who don't want to adapt into what access that they have, right? Again, we view the internet as a commodity, and we keep missing, it's a communication. It gives us access to the world. We've never had a time where, look at us, we're having meetings and you just did a whole program with hundreds of people. You did it almost like a small, conference show, right? It validates what the internet is. And unfortunately, when we hear it, we're thinking like, well, that's a young man's game. No, that's the world. It's the world we live in, right? It's digital is the world we live in. And as long as we fight that and try and find, other nuances or just lean into the nostalgia so heavily, I know it has its place. Nostalgia has its place. I don't doubt that. I don't knock that. But if we keep viewing these syndicated sites as, or we put so much attention at what Zillow is doing, we give too much energy, give too much time to what they're doing and not building up our own network, we miss the opportunity. So yeah, we got a right to be upset, right? We have a valid right, but we don't have a right to be upset at Zillow. We have a right to be upset at ourselves because the internet is the great equalizer. Every platform that we have access to is absolutely free. A URL for your website is $12 a year. Every URL is flat. There are two levels when you guys decide to build out a website. Forget about the IDX. Don't even worry about the IDX. The power in the website is the SEO and SEM, search engine optimization and search engine marketing, right? And as long as we're willing to adapt and accept how content is being consumed or how information is being consumed through video or audio, right? You can choose. That's the highest consumption of content, right? And we pay attention to what the world is moving in reference to how things are being consumed. Look how things are being streamed now, right? Do you really need to go to the movies anymore? No, you don't. HBO Max right home, right? When you think about, radio, do you really need to buy an album anymore? No. Everything is being streamed. So just paying attention to where the world is moving. Now we level up and we look at what the internet is doing in a sense of visually, right? Every platform is giving video priority, right? We see YouTube like, oh, that's a video streaming, and it's not. YouTube is a search engine, right? So YouTube is aligned with Google, all search, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, interruption-based, entertaining, TikTok, entertaining. But what's amazing is when you look at YouTube, long-form video, right? Facebook, long-form video, TikTok throughout the pandemic, short-form video became a dominant channel. Every channel recognized that and began to adapt and started. And now they all incorporate some type of short-form video where IG has Reels, YouTube has Shorts. Years ago, in about 2015, 16, about 2015, Snapchat came about, validated, ephemeral was important. That means content that lasts for 24 hours. Every network offers stories now. We just have to pay attention to what the world is moving at, and we just need to be willing to communicate the exact same way. And the fascinating part about all this stuff, Dave, everything I just mentioned is absolutely free. No money, absolutely free.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my note, James. My notes. It's I want to talk about. Well, you said something about IDX. Forget about IDX. Can you dig a little deeper on that?
Well, the reason why I said IDX is an unnecessary component is because I can confidently say 97, maybe 99% of the people that reach out to an agent is saying, I got this on Zillow. Right? Very few are saying, hey, I seen this on your website. And the only way we justify if someone say they've seen it on their website is based off one of these software companies convince them that they need to run ads to a group of people that don't know you to bring traffic, right? There's a strategy to that. That's not advertising. That's called SEM, search engine marketing. The problem with that is they're overcharging the industry based off of what it really costs, which is called CPMs, per 1,000 impressions. What they charge the industry, where it just sounds okay, it's a vanity play where we can say, I'll pay $1,000 a month. I invest $3,000 a month in advertising. I get leads. And then we hear, I have 6,000 leads that haven't converted. The problem with that is that's not how it's done. We're in 2021. We're at a place where we can generate conversations now. And if we understood, or if the software companies would, and I say I charge this to their head, not their heart. I just want to assume they didn't know. I don't want to assume that they knew and still charge the industry to run advertising to a website for an IDX to generate traffic that the agent could have done him or herself and not took the time to build a marketing component where there's awareness first, right? And we build awareness, and there's 3 levels when we talk about marketing and advertising, which is what any advertising agency or anytime somebody takes money from you should explain to you. There are 3 levels to this whole process. There's top level, which is attention, awareness, engagement. There's mid funnel, right? That's the amplification. That's the advertising. And then there's bottom funnel, which is conversion. We pay because we think we're advertising, or sometimes we do. We spend to an advertising channel and we want to get to the conversion side. The problem is we get all of these leads from these general IDX websites, and now we have to take them all the way back to the top of the funnel. And now we're spending twice to talk to the exact same person when we could have started there. We could have started at the top of the funnel, which is the marketing. The fascinating part about marketing, it's free. Simple thing is doing videos consistently, properly structuring it. The reason why top of funnel is important is because that's the attention, awareness, engagement. The engagement is how we're able to see the needs and wants of who's listening to us. And then if we choose, then we can advertise, right? That's the amplification. And then it brings them down to the conversion. When we buy into these different software companies, if we are upset at Zillow, we should be just as upset as these software companies because they're doing the exact same thing, different wrapping, right? We're buying leads, and the leads we're talking to, they're not converting because they don't know who we are, because the companies, along with Zillow, the companies have not taken the time to build awareness first before they took our money. Took our money and they advertised it to people that don't know who we are. So it justifies them saying, I'll give you a CRM, I'll give you an IDX, you give me an ad spend, I'll generate leads for you. And then we get all of these leads that go nowhere, right? But when we talk to a real consumer, he or she says, I think this is on Zillow, can you help me?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just unfortunately, our industry hasn't taken the time to be aware of what's happening. And I know that's a deeper conversation, but just hearing that, the heartbreaking part about that, Dave, is the conversations I have with people when they say, James, I have like 4,000 leads. I want to re-engage these people. You shouldn't have 4,000 leads right now. You should be talking about, I have, a couple dozen or 100 conversations along with it. Not, I got 4,000 leads that's not doing anything. The problem is no one built up the attention and awareness, and you was convinced that a website with an IDX was the way to go.
Well, let me ask you this question, and I want to get into a video a little bit, strategy.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand. So that in my mind, top funnel is IDX or search for buyers. Am I missing something?
No, top funnel is all about attention, awareness, and engagement. Right.
Okay. So isn't that listings?
That's marketing.
I mean, in my mind, that's for buyers. Do they care about the real estate agent or do they care about the list? I mean, sellers, I think, and again, I don't know the answer to this question. I'm asking you.
When you understand that marketing and advertising are two different things. They're cousins. To properly moving from marketing to advertisement, there's 3 levels. There's top of funnel, there's mid funnel, and there's bottom funnel. That's it. That's the structure. The top of funnel is all about attention, awareness, and engagement, right? As you market based off getting engagement, you're able to hear and listen what the needs and wants are from the consumer. That way, if you choose to advertise, we only advertise to the needs and wants because it's based off of knowing what it is. We don't go and you don't see you go to online and you look and shop for something, right? You don't go to Nordstrom prior to seeing an advertising. So you go to Nordstrom, you look, you see something you like, maybe see shoes or shirts you like, you leave Nordstrom, now you see advertisement. You don't see that prior to. You don't see that before, right? Because how do I advertise to David if I don't know what he wants, right? I don't know I have no clue what the needs or wants are. It's clueless, right? So marketing has to precede advertising. But the amazing part about it is if you market correctly, you're building engagement, which brings you down to conversions, which is bottom funnel. Marketing is essential. Advertising is a luxury. Get marketing right. You can choose if you want to advertise or not. And we've been told that you have to advertise. You have to advertise. But nobody told us, okay, before you advertise, we have to build awareness first. We have to get engagement. We need to know who who we're going to advertise to. We don't spend just because I have a geographic and a budget. It's not enough. Who am I talking to?
Retargeting? Is that essentially what you're like,
Well,
using a pixel?
retargeting is advertising. Exactly. Advertising is retargeting, and retargeting is advertising. We hear the term at retargeting. We think that that's like a second level. No, retargeting is advertising. That's the game, right? You can only advertise to the needs and wants. Now, when you think about just putting money to amplify the message, now we're talking about things like SEM, like search engine marketing. We're top of funnel, where we're putting money behind the attention just to get more attention. We can do that, but it doesn't tie into the advertising where we're expecting some type of direct response or some type of lead generation, right? That's the misconception, where if you put money into the attention side, that's the point, to develop attention. We can put a CTA, but the expectation of someone converting, they don't know who we are. That's why we go through this whole nurture process. There's just faster ways to expedite the process to get you to bottom funnel without breaking the budget. And that's why I brought up things like CPMs, right? CPMs it means per 1,000 impressions. That's how the internet charges, and that's how the internet pays us as well. So when you hear people that are influencers that make money online, they pay them per 1,000 impressions. That's how they're paid. But when we advertise, we're charged per 1,000 impressions. Now, the fascinating part about that terminology is that between Facebook, Instagram, even on up to YouTube, even to PPC, where we're doing display or search, the cost per CPM is anywhere between $3 and $8 we've seen. That's the average, right? We only see high CPMs when we do things like LinkedIn ads. But when we're charged based off of these syndicated sites or software companies, they're charging us $300, $400, $500 per CPM purely because we don't know. So it's important for the industry to be aware of what's happening. And the one thing I try to stress is this is an advertising agency speaking. You don't need to advertise. People are advertising prematurely because they think it's a necessity, and it's not. Marketing is the necessity. Advertisement is the luxury.
So if someone's running a Facebook, like we just launched a Facebook campaign for an event we're doing, and it's to an audience, obviously an audience of real estate agents that we've had for years. Is that marketing or advertising?
Well, how did you get the audience?
Well, it's an email. It's an email list. It's people that register on our funnel pages, our sales pages. Just people like, years of.
It just depends on where you built the. If the audience has some awareness and you're marketing to them based off things that they were interested in, yeah, that leans into advertising. But if you're marketing to them just because they're a category, it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything, right? That's why the conversions are so low, right? Marketing just off the category is one thing. What I'm saying is advertising is marketing purely based off what a person needs and wants are. They've said it. They've engaged with you. They've told you, hey, listen, I'm interested in knowing more about your events.
Are you familiar with Ryan Levesque? He must be, right? Quiz Funnels?
No, not at all.
Quiz Funnels. That's something we're focusing on now. It's exactly what you're saying. You run, like, disc assessment is an example of quiz funnel, or the Myers-Briggs is a quiz. Like, people tell you exactly what they are, and then you use that to obviously send them what they're looking for and what they want. Yeah, it's brilliant. I would love. I know we said 30. I don't. Are you okay for a couple more minutes, or do you?
Yeah. I gotta pull out by 5, but I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. We'll get you.
Yeah, I ain't rushing you, Dave. I'm here for you, man.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I wanted to ask you a question, and this is kind of a different question, but it's on my mind. How does what Apple's doing with privacy, how is that going to affect all this marketing and advertising?
I think it's a genius move in reference to privacy because they're trying to be the apex company of privacy. They're trying to be and show that they pride themselves on privacy. Now, when we talk about native engagement or native data, it's not going to affect that at all. It will affect those that are focused on suggested tools like the suggestions, right? It'll definitely affect that, and it'll affect mobile. The biggest effect is things like e-commerce, but service-based. If we start out where we're building awareness first and engaging, and it's natively done, it doesn't affect that at all. It has nothing to do with that. So whatever data is built on the site, we know that that's not going to be affected. So if you put out a video and people engage and you built an audience from the video, that's not going to get infected. That's not going to affect it.
You just can't, so what ultimately does it do? Is it just, they're not sharing information anymore?
No, it's just on the newer mobile, on the newer phones, they'll just notify you and say, hey, this particular whatever is cookie you. Do you want to opt in or not? And you can opt out of it. But that feature has always been available.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, we're making a lot of we're still learning all of what it can do, but what concerns us, we found out it's not going to affect. Right. So if you're building data or audiences natively, and what I'm saying is it goes back to the beginning. If you're doing videos and you're building audience based off engagement, it's not going to affect that. But if you're just trying to micro target people, it will affect that.
Let's talk about these videos.
Go.
What kind of videos should we be doing as real estate agents?
First video, I always tell people that they need a welcome video, right? You know, if you're using Facebook, you definitely need a welcome video pinned to your page. If you're on YouTube, you definitely need a welcome video there. All of these channels give you the ability to build audiences from the tactical side of the welcome video is when a person come to your when they come to your business page or whatever, you can build an audience based off the engagement level, not just a person visit your page. That's always important. Then we start talking about different types of video. Well, that varies based off the platform, right? You know, when we think about YouTube, YouTube is more search based. So you want to create videos that taps more into the need than entertainment. Right? If it's just entertainment, no one's searching entertainment, right? You know, if we think about geographically, you know, we need to tie in our area to the closest popular area. So if an area is very popular, you know, you take like Pennsylvania, right? You say Pennsylvania, everybody knows Philadelphia. But if I say Lumberton, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, right? So Lumberton is 30 minutes from Pennsylvania. You got to learn to tie your area into the most popular areas. When you talk about search is all about, you know, providing a solution. And then YouTube, and then Facebook and Instagram, that's all entertainment. That's interruption, right? The more entertaining you can be, the more you can catch people when they're strolling through the newsfeed. No one's on these platforms outside of YouTube actually searching for information. You know, when we get on Facebook and Instagram, it's entertainment. We're scrolling. So whatever you put out has to have the ability to stop the scroll, right? And it requires entertainment. And, you know, all of the platforms have a 6-second attention span. That's the time frame that people will give you. Like, that's just the number. Sad part about that is a goldfish will give you at least 8 seconds, right? It's messed up, right? So we got 3 seconds to get their attention. We got 3 seconds to convert them. And when you think about LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all of that is interruption. It requires entertainment. But when we think about YouTube, YouTube is all search. Google My Business, that's all search, right? And then, you know, if we decide to get into the advertising side, the sky's the limit.
Love it, man. So first, give us one more. First video, you're going to do a welcome. What would be the next video? Is it a hyper-local type video?
It always should be hyper-local, right? It just depends on what platform you're leaning into. Like I said, you can get away with just about anything on Facebook and Instagram. If you're thinking about Facebook, instead of videos, I give you how things are propagated, which your video needs to be at least 3 minutes on Facebook. If you're going to use Instagram, focus on Reels, which is 30 seconds, about a minute. IGTV is okay, but Reels is getting priority because it's competing with TikTok and YouTube Shorts, right? And if you're thinking YouTube, you have to think of solution based, like, maybe to help me understand what it was like for you to move in such and such area, or people that's moving in such and such area, right? A property walkthrough doesn't hold a lot of weight. They're not going to search that, but they will search what's happening in the area. And if you have property walkthrough, that's just more entertainment side, right? That'll perform better on Facebook than YouTube. So when you think YouTube, anything that would be solution based, that would help somebody, hey, how to fix look what just happened. If your pipes are freezing in Texas, I mean, you can lean into a lot of things like that. So think solution based. And if you think of Facebook or Instagram and these other channels, entertainment based. And if you think of TikTok, think of, it needs to be 30 seconds and answer questions, right? Very, very powerful technique if you can get a 30-second video in.
For someone that's maybe not doing enough with video right now, is there any, would you suggest starting with one over the other? Or
no, yeah, pick one. I don't really, they all work, right? LinkedIn works. They all work. I'd say pick one. I try not to, I'm not biased with the platforms. I just know that they all work. Just keep in mind, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, interruption requires some entertainment, and YouTube requires search. YouTube is longer form, but YouTube has also, it's in beta now, that YouTube Shorts is a new thing. If you guys really, really want to lean into video content, vertical videos, start there. Any type of vertical video you can get done will go a very long way, and it doesn't matter the platform. Because everybody.
What do you mean vertical video? I don't know what that means.
Just holding your phone like this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Most of people, information is digest mobilely. That's how they'll be reading your information, right? No, very few people is taking the time to sit at their desktop, right? It's part of it, but when you think about optimization of how things are moving, everything is mobile heavy. So vertical based videos go much further than any other type of videos. So, and
what's the difference between vertical? I mean, obviously the direction, but why would a horizontal?
Because it'll feel like it'll feel like FaceTime. It'll fit the phone, right? Remember, we talk to people. It's just a native way to communicate, so it'll fit naturally here, right on your phone.
Yeah, all right. That's awesome. I didn't even know that. Yeah, I got some really good nuggets from today, man. 3 minutes on Facebook. That's
I see my invoice.
Yeah, all right. I love it. All right, man. So, well, you know what? To bring some value to you, how do our listeners get in touch with you, man? What's the best way for them to connect with you?
I'm easy. If you search Zillow Killer, one word, you'll find me everywhere, right? And like I said, the one thing we do is first week of every month, I've committed to making sure that we can handle these boot camps. So we do a week-long boot camp where I take you through 5 days of just hardcore of what it takes to build out a campaign. I show you what all these platforms can do. You spend about 2 hours a night with me. We deep dive into Q&A, and I walk you step by step. And I weaponize you so you understand that when you talk to somebody, they can't take advantage of you, and you don't need to hire somebody like me. But the amazing part about that as well, every dollar you invest to be a part of the boot camp, I donate all that to different children's charities. So I don't keep that money. The reason why I do that is because the industry was keystone for me breaking the financial curse of my family's life. So I give back to the industry because it's important. It put me to a place where I'm able to do everything that I'm doing now with multiple businesses. And it all started from real estate. So that's my way of giving back to the industry. If I can protect the industry or those that come in proximity of me from being taken advantage of, then that's kind of an assignment I'm okay to take on. And at the same time, I'm able to contribute to our kids as well.
Good for you, man. Yeah, Aaron Wittenstein told me you're a good guy, and I can see can see why he said that, man. He said you're legit. So appreciate having you on. Any final thoughts you have? Anything I missed that I should have brought up?
No, I mean, hopefully you guys, I know it was a lot, but just because it's hard doesn't mean you should ignore it. And I hope you guys start to move at the speed of implementation. And just remember, the unprepared will always get abused.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you.